management. So what is the scope management? Scope management means, see, I have already told, if there is a scope negotiation is needed, we can do the scope negotiation within the team, right? For example, we are taking one story, and initially developers are assigning 2 story points for that, but the work seems to be like too much. Then we can either have a new story in the upcoming sprint, or we should compromise, right, within the sprint. If we want to change the story point, we can change it, but you need to check with product owner, and you need to make sure that the relevant story points are removed. For example, if you are going to add a 3 story pointer, then 3 story pointer which already team is working should be removed, right? That is the ideal way, correct?
Yeah.
Instead of that, if suddenly your product owner is coming and telling like you need to do with some new feature, okay, which was not in the initial plan, then that is known as scope creep.
Okay.
So injection of more requirements into a previously defined project. So actually speaking, scope creep is a bad practice. Okay, because this will affect the overall output, right? Overall output, it will be affecting. So always the product owner should take the decision like which work we need to have and which work we cannot do. So product owner should have that understanding first. And then now, what is your part as a scope creep? What you are going to do? First thing, you are going to consider that your product owner is coming and giving you a new requirement. First, you need to check whether the sprint goal is getting affected or not, because the sprint goal cannot be modified at all. Once you are fixing in the sprint planning, then the sprint goal is static. Okay, so first you need to check the sprint goal. Next, you need to analyze how much effort needed, and you need to check with the team for commitment, whether we can take this or not. And then we need to deprioritize the old work. The most important
work, okay.
Yes, you need to deprioritize some old work, and then you need to make changes to the new story. That means you can add a new story, but all of these are subjected to these 2 factors. That means there should not be any risk in taking this story. That means no risk in sprint goal. Second thing is the business justification. Proper business justification should be given from the product owner. Why we are doing this? So in that case, we can allow the scope change. Else, if there is a change happening, then that is considered as a scope creep. Okay, because you see in some project, like what they will be doing is they'll be like frequently changing the requirement. That means in the middle of the sprint, they used to change the requirement, so that like 5 user stories, if a team is taking 4, they will change. Then what is the use of planning? There's no control over there, right? So that you need to take care. You need to ensure. So how we can handle this? First is monitoring the project progress and enabling a baseline scope. So you need to check the progress daily, and then you need to have a baseline. Okay, this is the sprint scope. That means it's a sprint goal. So these things like we need to have must. I told, right, in Moscow, like we used to have like must have, right? In that case, we need to have must. And then compare the actual work performance metrics to the baseline metrics using variance. And this is like too much high. Okay. And then pinpoint the source and the gravity of the changes noticed. For example, if you're suddenly seeing a new story, then you can put up a question. Why it is needed? And then deciding whether preventive or corrective action is needed in reply to the change request. The same example, whatever I told only, they are putting in a different way. That means, suppose some change request is coming, then you need to take an action, whether you need to prevent that or you need to correct something. So what action you need to take, you and the product owner should be in alignment, and you need to take a decision. That is what they are telling, same thing in the next point. Okay, so what I'm telling is, on the whole, if scope creep is coming, we need to, at the max, try to reduce the scope creep as much as possible. But sometimes it is unavoidable. So you need to work with product owner and ensure that the sprint goal is not getting affected and the sprint scope is not changed.